for too long, got to keep.
The first step in generating wealth is to pay yourself first.
I know everybody knows.
Stay tuned.
Stay protected.
Stay focused.
Stay connected.
There's a lot of different types of HELOC products that are now on the market, some of them geared towards velocity banking, and that's really good news.
This is probably the largest asset you will ever have in your life.
Right.
Here's some direction and some instruction on how to leverage this vehicle so that you can help yourself, help your family, accomplish your goals. We're not educated that way.
We use a strategy to pay off our home in 4 years.
Validation of your retirement account says what you thought was a retirement account is no longer one.
When I tell you, you're going to be shocked to learn. If you didn't come from a wealthy family,
You can make sure a wealthy family comes from you. So it starts with pay yourself first, today,
Yeah, starting today.
right now. Put your money in somewhere secure. It's about the ability to not lose. I will take base hits all day long versus winning and losing. Somewhere secure, compound your money, and then you leverage OPM, other people's money, to exponentially grow it. That's how you generate wealth.
So whether you're joining us to crush debt or build wealth, time is the most valuable asset.
and we're so grateful that you're spending your time here with us.
Keep going.
Welcome. Good evening. Let me ask you something. If a plane was going down, would you rather be handed an oxygen mask or a parachute? Because right now, millions of Americans are being told to stay buckled in and ride out the market turbulence, but no one's handing them a way out. This live stream tonight is going to solve that for you. It's for anyone staring down retirement, watching the market, and quietly thinking, I don't know if I'll make it out of this. You've saved, you've followed the rules, and now you're worried that one bad year could erase decades of work. You're not alone, and tonight we're not going to give you more noise, more charts, more recycled advice. We're going to give you the one thing this system never offered you, and that's a way to exit safely and to talk about what that means. So if you're wondering, how do I protect what I've built without locking it up, missing out, or trusting people that I've never met, you're in the right place. So by the end of this stream, what should they expect from our episode? This is our third episode in the Set It and Protect It series. And tonight is all about protection,
Yeah, so
crash proofing your retirement funds.
Right. And so and it's all based off the pill that we've been forced to swallow. We've been conditioned to believe one thing, that, hey, all you got to do is put your money in your company's retirement account. All you got to do is follow this prescribed plan, this target date fund, whatever the actions are we've been conditioned to believe to be true, only to learn when it's too late that you actually have very little control in what's actually happening with your retirement. Retirement is happening to you. You're not predicting it. You're not putting the right tools in place to be able to make sure you're successfully be able to go through it. And so by the end of this stream, hopefully you will identify or see that, you know what, maybe I should have a better sense of urgency or different sense of urgency around this. And here's some actions that I can actually take to safeguard things.
Well, to be fair, we were all told to follow the rules and comply with, like, just make your contributions and everything right, and then write it out.
Right.
And what we're learning is what that means exactly, and how to be able to determine, like, what's the equation for you to know whether you're safe or not, and whether you can recover. We've covered that quite a few times in the recovery periods and how to understand that. But how do you know how to measure your protection gap? So we're going to go over a 3-step system to crash proof your retirement. And you can do this in less than 90 days. You can speed this up, in fact, because time is of the essence and is our most valuable asset.
Very true.
So, yeah. And on that note, we're so grateful that you're spending your time here with us. If you don't know who we are, I'm Angelique.
And I'm Donnell.
And our goal is to help you
get self-directed.
And to do that, we are going through piece by piece and layer by layer. If you're here on this live stream, it's because you love to peel back those layers and you love to get yourself educated so that you can make educated and confident decisions. We believe that there's many ways to 10, and this is not a one size fits all. And so that's why being educated helps you understand where to pivot. Ready to jump in?
Of course.
All right, let's go. Well,
run.
1,
2, 3.
The goal should be, where can I achieve exponential growth? Exponential growth.
Let's just get into it.
Let's just get it. Hey, you made it.
Barely. Tripped over these size 12 and almost bust my face, but I made it.
Yeah, you in there.
So you mind throwing up the vibe board, sweetheart? So yeah, what's interesting about today is this follows the set it and forget it platform, and the thought process is we're reframing that. We're shifting away from set it and forget it, set it and I don't have to think about it anymore, to set it, make sure my money is protected. And again, if you're this is for you if you're staring down the barrel of a retirement and you're wondering whether or not you will or won't have enough. This is one of those streams that you want to pay close attention to, because what we're going to walk through is where we are today and how to get beyond it. So how many of you are in this position? Because I've been here many times. When the market is taking a turn, when the market is doing something different, you don't even look at your account. You're like, you know what? I have so little control over my retirement. I have so little control over what's happening in the market. I am just not going to look at it. And that was absolutely me. When I started with Amazon, I had such great incentives that I used to watch it weekly. And I used to make a little tick mark, a little note as to how the Amazon stock was doing. But as I was approaching 2008, I just simply had to turn the TV off, because I could not bear to watch and see what was happening. So when the plane is going down, have you ever wondered, where's your parachute? Where's your ability to not have to be a victim of what's happening in this process? So you may have stopped looking at your retirement account, but not because you don't care, not because it's not a priority, not because there's no reason to. It was more because, hey, how much control do I actually have? So I'm actually going to not look at this so that I can actually sleep well at night, and because I can't control preventing this from happening or stopping the bleeding. So think of it this way. Let's say you're on a plane, or think about the last time you were on a plane. When the stewardess was walking by, when the flight attendant was walking by and doing the steps to make sure before we take off, hey, here's how to snap in your seatbelt. Here, if in case of emergencies, here are the steps that you need to take. How much attention were you paying to that? How much attention was being paid to that by you? Some, little, none. I know for me, when it occurs for me, I'm trying to go to sleep. So I may make eye contact with the flight attendant to begin with, but for the most part, I'm just trying to make sure it's over with as quickly as possible.
Yeah, most people are not paying attention. You can tell.
Exactly.
I look around.
Exactly.
I am that person that looks around and sees and thinks to themselves like, "Wow, if something were to happen, nobody is paying attention."
Right. So in most cases, this is probably the most critical period of this period. The most critical period of this moment, this time, this flight. And this is probably the time when we should be paying the most attention. Why? Because if something were to happen, would you actually know what to do?
Yeah, probably not. That's the point.
Right.
Because I'm like, are these people going to be even blowing in this tube if they can't pull the cord? Will they even know that the cord's there? They're not even paying attention.
Exactly. So when turbulence hits, though, imagine being on this flight, and over that loudspeaker in a low monotone voice, you hear, hey, we're experiencing turbulence. The plane is actually going down. So you remember that training we gave you? Remember all of those things we discussed early on in the flight? Well, now now we're about to put them into action. Now you need to be prepared for making sure you're ready to guard against what's occurring right now in this flight. Everyone is told to stay calm. Everyone is told to, you know what, relax. When the oxygen masks fall, make sure you put it on yourself and then put it on your child.
Well, to be fair, it sounds like
Right.
That's what it sounds like. So everyone's going like, what? What did they say? What did they say? And that's exactly how when we're watching the market and we're watching the news, we're watching all of these reports come in, it just sounds just like that, all muffled and garbled, and everyone's looking around going, what did they say? What are they talking about? Does anybody really know what they're talking about?
Right.
Yeah. So then the panic just comes in first from what are they saying? What are they talking about?
And what is your reaction? Like, I know for me, because I've been in a few of these where the turbulence wasn't, hey, the plane is falling out of the sky, but it was a jarring, like, whoa, what was that? Is your first thought, you know what? Let me make sure my seatbelt is tight and let me put myself in position so that I can put my head between my knees.
Yeah, let me get out this pamphlet.
Right.
In the pocket in the front and read now what I should be doing if I'm concerned.
Exactly. In a moment of turbulence or a moment of a mechanical related issue, my first thought is, how can I get off this plane? My first thought is, how can I get away from this as quickly as possible, safely and as quickly as possible?
Yeah, and imagine the people who agreed to help people get off the plane. They're sitting in the emergency row, right? The exit row.
Right.
And they're thinking to themselves, like, I just sat here because I wanted the leg room. Now I might actually have to help people, and I didn't pay attention either. So that's a lot of financial advisors right now. It was all good when they had the leg room, right? When it was just about the leg room. All right, please continue.
So when that turbulence hits, again, you're on this flight. How much control do you actually have in this moment? But what are you being told? Remember the training we've already given you. Remember the steps we told you to take in case this was happening. Why? We knew there was a possibility. We knew there was a possibility that this might occur. And what you realize is, are there people on this plane that are telling me to stay seated, telling me to prepare for or brace myself for this turbulent period, brace myself for what's coming, when they're not actually subject to the same results? They're not actually impacted by the same things. Meaning, while I'm sitting here being told to brace for impact, there are some people that actually may be sitting there with a golden parachute, with the ability to not be impacted by what's actually happening here.
Yeah, and this is like this false sense of security, right? Because you're looking at them and they're not panicking, so maybe you shouldn't panic.
Right. So why aren't, instead of a flotation device being stuck up under the sea, why isn't there a parachute? What would be preventing us from having a bit more security around, if something were to happen, I can have a little bit more control as to what those next steps might be?
Right. And then also, we don't understand what their conditions are, to Gabo's point, what the conditions are of somebody when they got on the airplane. Maybe they had a few relaxing bottles, like Gabo's saying in the chat, and that's why they're not panicking. Maybe it's because they have this golden parachute, and that's why they're not panicking.
Right. And the biggest piece for me is, what are the options? In this moment, we are all in this plane together. In this moment, what are my options? I have very little control at this point. But where my mind goes is, how can I quickly and efficiently move myself to safeness? So sometimes the fastest option is to just be prepared. Be prepared to exit as safely as possible and have as much control as you possibly can in this moment, which is a challenge. Because again, we haven't been conditioned to think about things this way, specifically our finances. And so what we want to kind of break down today is the idea of a parachute as it relates to your finances. If you are stuck on this plane with everyone else and the market is going to crash, whether you like it or not, you have very little control. Rather than bracing for impact, rather than riding it out, rather than all you got to do is brace yourself for the recovery period, because this happens all the time. What if there was a system you could put in place to where you could remove yourself from being impacted by this downfall? And so the idea behind a system, a parachute system, is I'm able to place my money in a position to where, God forbid, if something happens in the market like a crash or some market correction, I am not now subject to whatever the market decides. I'm in some way, shape, or form protected. And in most cases, not in most cases, in all cases, the market itself has seasons. I think we can remember this spring season where we were in a significant or a decent growth period, but all of a sudden we started talking about tariffs. All of a sudden we started talking about these different things that caused a fair dip. And we are sitting right now in summer. We are in this boom period. There's actually a rally over the last few weeks. We have hit the highest point of the market thus far. But I think we can all agree, we are one Jerome Powell firing away from winter is coming. We are one Jerome Powell incident away from a market crash. how much control, where's your dollar sitting? How much control do you have over whether or not this occurs or not? It's going to occur. The question is when. Again, we are one tweet. One, Jerome Powell is no longer part of the Fed Reserve moment away from the market going, I don't know what's going on and I'm panicking. How much control do you have over this process? And again, it's inevitable. The market functions in seasons. And right now we are rallying. Right now we're in a pretty awesome position.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
We have a comment here,
Yes.
and I'm here for this.
Yes.
Okay. We have Dobsy is new to the chat, so welcome to the stream. It says, well, the typical Boeing 737 isn't really capable of parachuting safely. Every time they try it, the dummy hits the vertical stabilizer. It's why on my aircraft, we've removed the parachutes and we'll ride. Okay. So this is, I love this. They said they understand the analogy though.
Right.
Okay. They get it. But they're saying it's not even possible for people to assume that there could be parachutes on a plane and that this could be an option for safety or protection. And this actually aligns pretty well. We were talking about this earlier.
Conditioning.
Yeah. Well, no, just in terms of like, imagine this concept where you did have a parachute, and this applies to our future and financial planning as well. If everybody had a parachute and they jumped out, let's just say this was possible, and they're colliding with each other because you have to know how to use a parachute, right? It's not just, you just slap it on and pull the cord and then you're good to go. You got to know what you're doing. But then the other part is like proximity, right? You have to have space for it to inflate. And so if you are colliding with other people, then that defeats the whole purpose and the parachute's not able to do its job. This is the same concept though, when people start to panic and jump out of the market, right? But the first people to go, if the pilot knows that this is inevitable and he jumps out of the plane and he has a parachute, chances are he's going to be okay. There's nobody around him to collide. He's got open air, all
prepared.
Right. He's got less risks in a sense. This is every CEO. This is the 1% club, right? They understand what's happening. They have the golden parachutes and they've already jumped out. Meanwhile, they know you have to stay strapped in. If you do not stay strapped in and the plane erupts in chaos, it only makes things more difficult for everybody else, mainly those who benefit, right? Now, there are obviously parts of this analogy that don't work, right?
Right.
But the idea that everyone is saying to stay buckled in, stay seated, do not leave. We understand that over the long term, this is going to pan itself out. Don't worry. But there's so many people where this hits them and they are in a, they've just retired. They're about to retire. Timing. Right. Exactly. And so they're not looking going, okay, let's get the elderly. They can't brace for this impact, right? Let's help them plan better. Let's help them be more protected in this. No, they're not doing that. And that's really the point here. But we're here for these details. We're here for these rabbit holes. Yeah. So thanks anyway for stopping in and sharing that. The point here is that somebody does have them. Theoretically, right?
It exists,
right? And many people have already used them because they saw the writing on the wall. They understood what was happening, but they're the same people telling you to stay seated.
But along those same lines, though, while I fully agree with you, if everyone jumped out of the plane all at once, it would create chaos. But in order for the system to change, how quickly would the system change if we all got out of the market?
Yeah, we refuse. We're like, we don't care about that seatbelt sign.
Exactly. How quickly would the system change, or at least guardrails better created because we now are taking more control over this process?
Yeah, but do we do that when the plane's going down, or do we have those conversations before this happens, right? Before we get on the plane.
That's the part.
In a sense, right?
It's about preparation.
Right, because it's not the flight attendant's fault that this is
doing her job.
That's right. Yeah, and exactly. Yeah. So, okay. Well, thank you.
So, So what we want to kind of highlight here is, and sweetheart, you kind of found this. There's a series of Reddit threads around subjects like this. And I think this is the one that kind of jumped out being pretty impactful, especially relatable to what do I do? Like things are happening and what do I do? So I'll just read this, or if you would like to read it, but I'll go ahead and read it. Is there anything I should do to protect my money in this market? I think that's obviously a very, very decent question. This was about 4 months ago. So this was during that period of, we didn't know what was happening with tariffs or whatnot. But the bottom line is there anything I should do to protect my money? It's a 26-year-old female. I apologize if this question is stupid. And the answer is no, we're all losing money. So you're no different than us. And but I had to ask it just in case. Obviously, my stocks are all the way down due to tariffs, market uncertainty, etc. I figured I should wait a bit and buy the dip. But of course, that was my logic until Monday when the market was down an additional 3%. And now it's down like another 6%. So I wasn't sure if there was anything else that I could do right now. Also, my mom is 70 and I'm worried about her retirement funds as well. Would love to see some discussion around how to survive dips in this recession.
Yeah. Okay. So we should put the link in the chat so everybody can play along with this, because the responses, well, you can imagine what the responses were. The majority of people were telling her to stay seated, stay buckled in, and be quiet, right? Just focus on breathing, read the pamphlet.
And I think one of the other pieces that she had put in there was, my mom did all the things right.
Right.
She did everything that she was supposed to do. She put in her 401k. She's currently retired, but she is slowly seeing it dwindle away. She did everything that she was supposed to do.
Well, and imagine this. So she's watched her mom plan, right? She's 26, her mom's 70. Her whole entire life, her mom has been taking this pretty seriously. And for her to be in a position now where she's going, well, I was trying to get on my feet, but now I may have to consider that I have to take on supplemental support for my parent who we thought they were good, or at least we're going to be able to have enough. And for most Americans, that's the point. It's not that they're looking at, well, I won't be able to golf every day during retirement. Right. That is not what it is. It is a basic survival bar. Right. And so now we're looking at, well, where will that bar be? We have no idea. And so what do we do to avoid losing versus playing this growth game? Because clearly that is not the landscape that we're looking at. So how do we avoid losing so that we don't have to then, because it's not a loss for her. It's a loss for the entire family. We are all going to have to change something. And if we don't have resource or leverage to access and we have to wait this all out, what are we going to do in the meantime? We've got to figure this out. So what is everybody else doing? Right. Love to have some discussion. Crossing my fingers, we can get some discussion going in here that sounds like anything different than what I'm hearing everybody else say. And there was one of these was my favorite answer. Do you want me to read it?
Go for it.
Okay, it goes like this. By the way, this is a female. We saw that when you had it up. It was a female FIRE group for female retirement planning group. But the majority of these comments on this thread are men. Love that. Love that.
Sound effect for that.
Yeah, we do need a sound effect. So this guy says, yes, get it out of stocks. Another guy says, this is terrible advice. Never panic sell. Matter of fact, I wish I knew how to screen share on this program. How do I do it? Never mind. I'm just going to read it. Okay. I'm going to put it in the chat actually, so you guys can see what his response is. We can all read along. Just going to pop it in here. No, it's too long. Okay. It says somebody says this is a terrible advice. Never panic sell. This guy, fully loaded, getting out of stocks when the future is clearly bleak is the best advice on Reddit. I have been giving the same advice for months. This downturn was easily predictable and only has just begun. Tariffs, federal layoffs, of needed employees in federal service, cancellation of government contracts, rapid flip-flops, deportations of needed low-wage workers, corruption of the judiciary and law enforcement, attacks on public health, defunding education, overt racist policies, attacks on Trump's enemies, crony capitalism, fascism, defunding scientific research, deporting foreign students, defunding the arts, attacking unbiased media, spreading propaganda. He goes on and on and on. Promoting quack medical cures. All are bad for the nation and bad for the economy. We will see rising inflation, bankruptcies, foreclosures, and unemployment with falling corporate earnings, trade, and GDP. He says Doge is destructive and is not reducing waste. It is waste. I did not panic sell. This is the important part. He says, I did not panic sell. I made an informed investment decision. The longer that you stay in stocks, the more that you will lose. And then nobody responded to this.
Crickets.
At all, ever.
And here's the thing. It's kind of hard to argue with factual statements. And the thing is, what jumped out at me from that comment was, just get out of stock sounds wonderful. Just get out of the market sounds wonderful. How? What do you do? And as it relates to this young lady, 26 years of age.
Right.
And if we're relating it back to the plane, she's not concerned about turbulence. She's concerned about this plane falling out of the sky. She's concerned that there's no landing gear. And she's most concerned about the impact to her mom. She realizes, I've got time, but what about my mom? And so if you were to take that comment that you just read, yes, if I could get out of the plane now, that would be great. But I think it's at this stage, it's kind of too late for that. I need to plan to be able to put myself in a position so that if the plane is going down, I know what the actions are that I should take. Not just don't fly.
Yeah. And then for them to be like, well, just get out of the plane. How?
Right. How? Exactly.
This way.
Exactly.
How?
So what is it she's actually asking? And this is a simple multiple choice. So I would love to hear feedback in the chat as well. So what is it she's asking? Is she asking, is it okay to ask this after all she posted on a Reddit thread because she doesn't feel relieved by any discussion she can have with her private resources? So is it okay to ask? Is it, if my mom did all the things right and is still this vulnerable, what does this mean for my future? How does this impact me? And who else is buckled in? Has anyone else gotten out of their seat? Like, do you guys see what's going on? Hey, this is it was almost a Hail Mary. Like, hey, does anyone else see what I see? Am I the only one experiencing this uneasiness related to what's happening in the market? Am I the only one that felt that turbulence? Yeah, I heard over the loudspeaker that I should put my seatbelt back on, but is that the only option?
Right. Hello. Is it just me?
Is it just me?
Do we just stay seated? Okay.
So,
do we just use this bag in the front if we have to, like,
right,
if we get
right.
a little sick to our
Hand
stomach?
between your knees, and if you're starting to feel sick, there's a bag over there that you can throw up in.
Yeah, just asking for a friend and my mom.
What is she asking? And I think the truth of all of this is, it's all of it. It's, hey, I am concerned. I'm highly concerned, one, the impact to me. I'm highly concerned about the impact to my mom. And why isn't everyone else talking about this? Why is it that me riding this turbulence out, the market's on, the market's on sale, buy more. Why is this the response versus where's the protection for me? So it's not a stupid question at all. It's actually the right one. It's the right one actually at the right time, because this was 4 months ago. As I mentioned before, the market moves in seasons. What season are we in? We're actually in the summer season. We're in the rallying part of the market. We have hit the highest performance in the market all year. Do you feel that way? Does it feel, does your mental state feel like the market is doing wonderful? Because for most of us, it does not. And it's because we have zero control over this process, just like this 26-year-old.
Yeah, Veronica says, it seems like she wants to not feel alone and not going crazy in her head. Like, am I like the Reddit, am I the jerk for feeling like maybe I don't want to have to take care of my parent if there's something else I could do, right? Yeah, no, so
I shared
true.
last week that I got a text from my mom just last with it was a screenshot of her next annuity that she's about to dip into and wanted to understand, hey, what can we do? What actions can I take? Because I have this, excuse me, I have a feeling that this plane, I'm experiencing some turbulence. What are the actions I can take now so that before things get bad, I'm protected, right? We're all feeling that way.
Yeah, and so I agree with Lake CEO. Asking the right questions and feeling that something is wrong is the warning to get busy finding answers to those questions. Exactly. Yes, and that's why we're here.
And we're here to make sure that you have some clear understanding as to what those actions could be. And as we say it all the time, there are many ways to 10. These aren't the only actions, but these are absolutely some viable steps that you can take to be able to make this a better experience. All right. So, and ultimately, what we're learning here is, and I think we all know this when we think about it, not everyone is in the same seat. Meaning, those pilots who have that parachute already strapped to them, they already are prepared for whatever's happening. And to your point, are probably the first to react. So we are not all in the same seat. And as it relates to this 26-year-old and her mom, she realizes that, yeah, while she may have time to recover, her mom, who is deep off into retirement, does not have that same period of time. But why is it that we're treated the same? Who benefits from us being in the same bucket? Because the data says the same, meaning the instructions for us to function in this market are the same regardless of your age, regardless of how much you have in it, and it's this. Write it out. You will recover. The market's on sale. Buy more. So we're given the same instructions while knowing we are not in the same position. So while we're being handed oxygen masks and flotation devices, there are some others who have already left the plane.
Yeah, and then there's people who are looking at their iPad, the back of the iPad, these AI pictures.
You gotta love AI.
I know. Oh my gosh, so funny.
Or maybe it's one of those double-sided. That exists, right?
Yeah, maybe they just think it's no point in looking at it. I'd rather look at the back of the iPad at this point.
This is how much control I have.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, and we wanted to run a little exercise here. So, in order for you to understand where you need to go, you kind of have to sit back and kind of pay attention to where you are right now. So if the market were to drop 30%, again, we are one tweet away from a Jerome Powell firing to where the market will be disrupted. So if the market were to drop 30%, how much would you lose? And understand the question that I'm asking. I'm asking you, how exposed are you? So you may have many different assets. Of those assets, how many are impacted or would be impacted by a 30% drop? Oh, well, there we go. And so this is about how ready are you? How ready are you for a dip in the market, and how capable are you of being able to pivot? So what if you had $500,000 in your portfolio and the market lost 30%? What that ultimately means is 30% of 500,000 is 150 grand. That means after that mark, the remaining value in your account would be 350,000. Based off where you are today, based off your age, based off the amount of time you have left before it's time for you to retire, do you have time to recover this 150,000? And a better question is, do you understand how much time it would take to recover from a 30% market drop? And this is something we cover often. And we cover it because people we talk so much about the market and how the market shifts and changes and turns, but we never talk about the impact to what it means to recover from a 30% loss. So take a moment and assess your own portfolio, assess your own investment criteria around how exposed are you? And if that 30% drop were to take place, what is that true impact? And just so we're clear, in 2022, when the market lost 24%.
Can't move it over.
Thank you. In 2022, when the market lost 24%, a 24% loss in the S&P 500 equates to a 3.5-year recovery period, meaning it would take you 3.5 years just to get back to even. So if we're talking 30% in this case, we're talking somewhere around 5 years just to get back to even. So if you lost 150,000, it would take you 5 years just to get back to where you left off. Is that okay? Is that sufficient for you? Are you okay with that? And so this system, because notice in this system is designed to protect itself. Meaning, even though your $500,000 lost 150,000, how was your financial advisor impacted? What did your financial advisor lose in this process? If you lost 150, what did your financial advisor lose? Well, when you get time, look up this little thing called 12B1 fee. What you will learn is because of the 12B1 fee, regardless of what happens in your portfolio, your financial advisor still makes money because and it's contractually, meaning that percentage of performance or percentage of amount that you have in your account will always come back to your financial advisor, whether you make money or not. So while you are trying to figure out how I am going to recover and how much time it's going to take just to get back to even, the people around you, again, the people that fly the plane have already left, or they're secure because they already have the right structure in place to be able to compensate for what's happening. But what about you? What is it that you need in place so that the system will work for you? Because as of right now, the system is designed to protect the people that say they have your back. This system is designed to protect the market. This system is designed to protect your financial advisor. This system is designed to protect the banks while you take the brunt of it. But the beauty of all of that is there is a better way. You do have options. And again, we talk about this often as well. My objective is not to beat up on banks or financial advisors or life insurance companies. My objective is to share with you, show you how to become them. So what is the process banks use? What are the process that financial institutions use to make sure they're protected? And can we apply that same process to our system? So the idea behind that is, what if there was a parachute system that we could put in place to protect us from this market volatility, or whether the plane stays upright or goes down, we have some semblance of control over what's actually happening. So the idea behind a system or a parachute system is it's really designed to protect. It's designed for you to have your money in a position to where not just forget about it, not just set it and forget about it, but set it and protect it, place it in a position to where you can't lose what you've made. So if we're taking that $500,000 from the previous example in consideration, it's how do I protect the 5 while also growing it? Are there systems in place that will allow me to do it? Well, we have to start somewhere. It first starts with understanding where you are. The first step is protecting what you have. And what is Warren Buffett's first rule of money? The first rule of money is don't lose it. So the first step in building a system to allow you to be protected is making sure there's some type of floor, some type of 0% floor, 1.5% floor, whatever that floor is, some type of strategy that protects your baseline. When you put that $500,000 into this system, that $500,000 is protected. So at a minimum, I cannot lose what I have. Step one. So step one is the protection floor. And then step two is as my money starts to grow, because we all want our money to grow with the market. There's nothing wrong. If you were to look at the risk return pyramid, the stock market is where the bulk of growth for most million and billionaires happen. It is in the market. So we want to be able to perform with the market, but what we don't want to do is be impacted by the drop or the loss. So that the reason for the 0% floor, the reason for that floor in phase one is so that as the market improves, as the market grows, we can participate in the growth of the market, But if the market were to dip, that new growth point becomes our new baseline. So the idea behind it is, as the market dips, we don't participate. I think I have, yep, I do. As the market dips, we don't participate in what that dip looks like. And here's what I mean. If we're here, again, we're riding with the market, everything is going well, our money is making money. At this point when the market starts to dip, what ends up happening is, in a properly structured process where you have a market floor, when the market starts to dip, you do nothing, you hold. So as this plane starts to fall, what's happening to you? What's happening to you is, well, and you know I can't draw, sweetheart.
Oh, this is getting good.
But we will see if I can figure this out. My point is, as the market starts to fall, you're not participating in any of it. What's happening is you end up landing in this space. Get that back. Do that.
That's a person on a parachute, right?
Here we go. Yes.
No, I just want to make sure.
That's a person who jumped out of the plane as it started to descend, and so such that it's actually holding at the dollar amount it's sitting in. So again, that's that 0% floor. And then as the market starts to correct itself, and then you actually are able to participate in the market from where it left off. And so your performance continues to increase as the market continues to perform, but you're not participating in any of those losses. So the idea behind it is, it's an indexed approach to being able to participate in the market and grow your dollars systemically, but not participate in any of the loss of the market. So again, first step in this parachute system, the first step is protecting what you have, protecting that floor. And as your dollar amounts grow, the dollar amount becomes a brand new floor. So you capture the growth. And again, in these types of strategies, you may not capture all of the growth. There are caps in most cases, meaning if there's a 0% floor, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to participate in 36% growth in the market. It may be capped at 10, 12, 15. So the cap allows you to not have to participate in anything beyond a 0% floor. So again, it's protecting your capital. Your capital becomes the new foundation, and you're participating in the growth. And then the last piece is access, liquidity. Your ability to have access to your dollars as they are growing. In most retirement processes or retirement accounts like IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, your ability to have liquidity while this process is taking place, while in the midst of accumulation, is not there. But if you allow your funds to sit in the right vehicle that gives you liquidity control, and all I'm saying here is your ability for a free withdrawal. There are products out there that will allow you to take 5, 10, and in some cases 15% free withdrawals from your account, and that's without penalty. So if we're talking retirement dollars and you're over the age of 59 and a half, you may still have a taxable event, but it's not a penalizable event so you have access to your funds during that accumulation period while you're continuing to function under your other assets. So the key piece here is having the liquidity to be able to take action when you want, having the ability to have access to your income now and not have to wait till some job tells you you have enough points or you've reached some vesting period to be able to access your retirement dollar.
Right. And that matters a lot, especially like who this would qualify for. Because a lot of people say, well, I'm okay with not being able to access it until 59 and a half. This is retirement funds. Like I had that already signed up when I started to contribute to these accounts. What I have in my mind when you say liquidity is everybody who has come across a situation that they weren't prepared for or they couldn't control. One of those being like health issues, whether if it's you or a family member or whatever. But where else would this serve? The concept of making sure that if you are looking at your portfolio, that you have an element of liquidity or you understand what is available and accessible to you.
Right. And let's be clear. Most, if not, majority of retirement accounts do not allow for liquidity at any point prior to liquidation. And so the idea here is, what are those vehicles where you have that ability to do so? And in most cases, it would be some annuity type product or self-directed type product that will allow you to do so.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And so just to restate, those three pieces. It's about the protection floor. It's about making sure that the money that you have cannot be lost. And then as it grows, that new growth point becomes your new floor. And as your account continues to grow and create that new floor, your ability to have access to your dollars becomes meaning you have the liquidity control. You have the ability to take withdrawals if you need them with no penalty in doing so. And the key about a parachute type system like this is it's not a product. It's a structure. It's making sure that the vehicles that your money is in has the right structure to allow for these three pieces. And when you put these three pieces together, you've got something pretty special. But I would have to assume there are some concerns around this as well. And most of the ones that I get as it relates to structures like this is, are we just talking about insurance? Like, is that the only option I have to be able to do this? Because what I've been told about insurance, especially as it relates to annuities, is your money's locked up and you can't access it. And again, that's a part of that conditioning piece, because there are thousands, and I do mean thousands of annuities out there. So your traditional annuity, you're right. There's this period of time that it's locked up. You can't access it. If you do, the surrender charge is so significant that you would want to access it. But the truth is, there are annuities out there that provide you a different level of access that maybe we're not used to. And again, that access to your money. That access may look like a free withdrawal. It may actually look like leverage. It kind of depends. It depends on the product that we're looking at. But the key piece is you do have the ability to access your funds prior to retirement age. And I kind of touched upon this. It's the missing of the gains. If I'm protecting my money, and then as the market improves, my money grows, but I'm not able to participate in the full 24, 36, 38% growth in that market. It's capped at some 10, 12, 15%. And what am I missing out on? Well, again, I'm a math guy. If you simply just look at from 2008 to 2022, 2008 to 2022 is the time frame between two different market, I'll call it corrections. Well, during that period of time, if your money was in a vehicle structured and designed like this structure averaged about 65% upside with zero loss. 65% upside with zero loss. Going back to the 26-year-old from the Reddit thread. Again, mom's 70 years old. She watched her mom live through 2008. She watched her mom live through the next crash. I think it was COVID, 2022. So she does not have the time frame, nor does she have the assets available to be able to handle another loss. So the key is putting your money in a position to where it can securely still grow while not being impacted by market loss.
Well, most people just recovered before 2022 happened.
Right.
There's a lot of people who never really fully recovered because of what they had to take out or the losses that they had. The hits that happened in the housing market alone destroyed a lot of the generational wealth that was supposed to have been in place, right? So that's just a part of the equation alone. Then we have COVID. So regardless of the market, we just had economic conditions that were completely unfavorable, which made this landscape for a lot of people income to be impacted, right? The availability, a lot of businesses were impacted by this as well. Now we have the market for 2022 to consider, and then now here we are again. It's back to back.
We're one tweet away.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know why we're still waving the flags of 1980 and 1970 and 1990s or the early 2000s. We're still saying the exact same thing. It is not the same game.
Right.
It's not.
And I think that's that conditioning piece. It's who benefits from us not doing anything different? Who benefits from us simply making sure our seatbelt is tightened, making sure we got the oxygen mask on, and putting our head between our knees and grabbing that bag if we need to, if we feel like we're going to get sick? Who benefits from us behaving that way? Because it sounds like order to me. It sounds like no chaos. We are all enthusiastically headed down this path.
Well, you do that though. You do that though when you feel like you have those are your options,
Right.
and you have to make.
I don't know any better.
You have to make the best with the options that you have. And for the majority of people, we don't know any other options. So what option do we have other than to try to stay calm, to try to see it through, and to try to just to not impact things and make them worse, right? Getting up and walking around and flailing your hands around and screaming is just going to make it worse if it's inevitable.
Right.
The idea of that we actually do have options to be safer, the idea that there could have been other things happening in the meantime.
It's great for someone.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff, but a lot of layers to this, a lot of people involved, of course, to create these types of conditions, right? So there's that.
And I think the biggest message here, though, is it's possible. Meaning there are solutions to, again, going back to the Reddit thread, that gentleman was avid about getting your money out of the market. Show me a solution. Show me a how. And that's kind of what we're going to jump into next. It's how. How do we go about it? What are those steps you can take to actually be able to get there?
Yeah.
And so, and as we mentioned earlier, this can be done in a short period of time, meaning because we're, again, a tweet away. I keep saying tweet. I know I shouldn't, but again, I'm old. We are one Jerome Powell firing away from the market being in disarray. And here's why. It's because there's so much uncertainty. The reason we're in the summer, we're in a rally. Again, the market is doing great right now, but there's so much uneasiness. We just went through Prime Day, and that also is usually a good jolt to the market as well. But there's so much uneasiness because we all know we're just waiting for that issue to occur. So what can you do right now to better prepare yourself? And so I want to highlight this 30-day blueprint. And it kind of starts with the first 90-day blueprint. But let's first focus on the first 30 days. And if you think about it, it's similar to our thought process around velocity banking. You have to first understand where you are. It's kind of hard to implement a strategy if you don't have any idea as to where you are currently. So the first step is you need to pull up your accounts and understand where things are sitting right now.
Got to know your numbers.
You have to know your numbers. You have to understand how much of your portfolio you might have real estate, land. You might have what is it? Robinhood, a Robinhood account. You might have retirement accounts. You might have an IRA, a 401k, how much of your assets are impacted and or tied to the market. And you have to run your protection gap, meaning if something were to happen, what is that impact? If I've got $500,000 in assets and the market were to lose 30%, that's 150 grand. So now, what do I need to do? How do I need to place this? How do I need to redistribute this $500,000 so that at a minimum, I don't lose that? I'm not telling you to jump out of the market. I'm not telling you to get out of the plane. What I'm suggesting is we have to become better prepared. And the first thing that we need to do to become better prepared is to understand where we are, to understand what is that, how much risk is there and what are the steps. And then we focus on building a plan to close whatever that gap is. And then the next stage, again, should take about another 30 days, is we need to lock in that floor, meaning, again, using that $500,000, and if we have identified there's $500,000 at risk and we want to make sure that that exposure no longer exists, we need to make sure wherever that $500,000 is placed into a position such that at least I can't lose that. So I'm looking for that 0% floor. And again, I say 0%. There are some products out there that have like a 1.5% or minus 1.5% floor that gives you 6, 7, 8% more growth. So there's an opportunity to still take on more risk. You're not losing everything, but you understand there is a bit more risk there, but the bottom line is I have more control. I understand where my money is sitting and I'm protecting it. I'm putting my money in a position to where it can be protected and not lost. And then you focus on the product that you're wanting. What is that index? What are the index growth parameters? And that's kind of the Do I want a 0% floor or minus 1.5? Because a 0% floor may say my ceiling is 10%, but a minus 1.5% floor may say my ceiling is 15%. Which do you feel more comfortable with? What is your risk tolerance? And then we configure those access points. Where am I vulnerable? And how do I close those periods off? And then that last 90 is about implementation. That last 90 is about taking action. That last 90 is about saying, hey, I've identified how much I have. I've identified the vehicles that these dollars need to be placed in and how it needs to be distributed, how it needs to be diversified. And now it's time to activate. Now it's time to put my money to work. And now from that point, it's no longer set it and forget about it. I've set it, it's protected. And now it's time for me to monitor what's happening. So that way I can confirm what's happening with those gains. And again, if we're talking about a life insurance based product like an annuity that provides you with a 0% floor and access to the liquidity, you have full visibility into what's happening during that point. And this, when you put all of these three pieces together, that is your strategy.
So real quick, we went over some of these products that provide more protection in times like this. And so I just want to make sure that everyone knows that the past 2 live streams have gone over what those are, some of those in great detail. Right. So if you're looking for, well, what are they? What am I implementing? This is more on the why the crash proofing needs to exist. What are your options in terms of, right? And then we've done the deep dives already. So now you can just go back and watch those replays.
Right. And kind of just to restate, this is absolutely about why this is necessary. And again, it's kind of foreshadowing, right? Because again, we are one step away from the dollars you thought you have being something different based off some impact to the market. So are you placed in a position structured such that it can be mitigated? And again, this is not one size fits all. And so the idea is, are you in a position to place those dollars in a position to do better? And to your point, what are those vehicles? It's not a one size fits all. That's where we have to have that discussion. So the best thing for you to do is identify what your risk tolerance is and how exposed are you. And then we sit down and discuss what's the right vehicle. Because again, there are thousands of annuities out there. For the 26-year-old, she may need an annuity that allows her money to just grow. Focus on full growth. I need no access to liquidity because I'm so far from retirement anyway, that's not even a concern. But her mom is in a much different seat. So her mom's annuity might actually be one that's a flexible premium and guaranteed with a guaranteed income rider. So it's a dollar amount that she's going to place in and also be able to add to it over time while also producing income. It's a totally separate, totally different vehicle. And we'd be here all day long breaking down the thousands of different types of vehicles there would be. So right, we're focused on the why and what are those steps you need to take to be able to put that into action. Yep. So, and again, high level case study around that. 650,000 exposed in 2022. This is what I love about this example is this isn't saying take all 650,000 and place it into an annuity. What this couple did was they just took 400,000 of it and got it protected. Okay, so there's a portion of majority of my 650,000 is sitting in a vehicle that I know it can't lose. It's protected by the 0% floor. It's getting the gains from the market, and I have liquidity or access to it if I need it. But that remaining 250 is impacted by the market. So if the market does well, awesome. If the market doesn't, if it loses that 30%, at least I didn't lose everything. This, again, I have some semblance of control over this process. Because of my risk tolerance, I want the full access growth of the market, but I'm not willing to place all of my eggs in one basket. There are many ways to 10. My goal is whatever that dollar amount is. And so is there an ability to be able to put my money in a position to where I can have some control while also there's a portion I have, because of my risk tolerance, I can put some of it to work. So the question is, are you prepared? Are you able to afford the next crash? What's the impact the next market crash is going to have on your portfolio? Go ahead. Looks like you got a comment.
No, it says, you're right. There's no more set it and forget it. We don't have the luxury of being on autopilot. We have to be alert now to make adjustments as needed. Yes, welcome.
Right. And so as I was mentioning, you got the 650,000 that was placed in, but because we put that 400,000 in a protected format, there was zero loss due to market risk. And again, this is not a one size fits all. There are many different ways to 10, and there are many different ways to be able to secure your nest egg to make sure it meets your risk tolerance. So can you afford to wait for the next crash is the question. And I would think in most cases, whether you're 26 or 70, the answer is no. So the best thing that you can do is put your money in a position to where it is protected, because it's not about the market. It's about your ability to have some semblance of control. It's about your ability to have security around the fact that you can't lose money due to market risk.
Yeah. So who does this necessarily apply to if the majority of people are feeling like they have the time to recover?
That's it. And again, this is not one size fits all. So who does this apply to? It applies to all of us. If you are approaching retirement, you have a different sense of urgency. If you're 5 to 10 years away from retirement, then it's not, does this apply to you? It's how should things be structured so that you can make sure you're able to hit your timeline. If you're conservative, if you're in that, I'm switching from a high, I'll call it aggressive stocks and mutual funds, and I'm moving into more a bond related process, again, conservative, then there are also products out there that fit that piece as well. Recent retirees, I've had a lot of this conversation lately. There are people with these annuities that are beyond their secure, what is the term? Thank you. There are retirees out there that are beyond their surrender period. Man, that was a lifesaver. Thank you for that. Because it would have never come. There are retirees out there that are beyond their surrender period, but because they don't know what else to do with those dollars, they're still sitting in this same, I'll call it non-productive annuity. And there are products out there that can do so much better. Meaning you may be sitting in an annuity that is designed to grow, but it produces horrible income somewhere around the safe withdrawal rate, 4 to 5%. Well, what if, because you're beyond your surrender period, what if you could take those dollars, put them in a totally new, brand new annuity that's focused on 10% withdrawals while also giving you more autonomy and flexibility over your dollars? And then there's the risk conscious savers, meaning there is enough for everyone. It really is designed, it's focused on what is your financial parachute and what are your specific needs, and we will structure and build it around you. And what is the cost of waiting? Again, we are one tweet away. What is the cost of you saying, you know what, I can push this off till tomorrow? Not right now. What does that cost to you? Because again, it only takes one. And what is that recovery time? We've learned that depending on how much the market loses, that recovery time can be significant. So based off your time horizon, based off your goals and objectives, we want to make sure that we're not waiting, because some of us, most of us, and I'm going to say majority of us, can't wait. We don't have that kind of time.
Well, and we shouldn't, though. Here's the other thing. We shouldn't have to wait.
Right.
I understand that this is a casino. You have to play to win, right? I get that part. And I understand that there's been, we have benefited from this this vehicle, in a sense. We have benefited from this system in terms of gains and what we have done with that. So I understand that it's not saying that this is wrong, that you should not go and play in the stock market. It is saying that the amount of loss that people think that they can recover from, there's a lot of things that can happen in a 5 to 7 year period. And that is typically, that's what we have on the 5 to 7 years, depending, of course.
Right.
But there's a lot that can happen in that time period. And for a lot of people, they have to end up taking the hit. That is the most painful thing. When you waited through to year 4 and you would have been back up and at them at year 7. Well, back to where you were started from. That's really what we're saying, is that back to your break-even point, back to where you started from. It's like a time machine. You might as well have just skipped ahead and skipped 7 or 5 to 7 years. We don't have that kind of time to then start back up again. That's really what we're talking about. And so even if you think, well, I do have the time to recover, you're not really, it's just recovery. It's not
getting back to even.
Right. That's the point. Yeah. When there's other options where you could be using that period of time for growth, you would have protection, you would have security, and a lot more. Yeah. I won't, we don't need to go through the list. We just went through that list on the last live stream. But if you want to know what that list is, subscribe, give us a like, and tune in. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So, and you might be thinking, you know what? I'll just move it when things get bad. Or better yet, I don't want to miss out on the game. So again, I'm going to turn my head and just continue functioning in this space because I don't want to miss out on the gains of the market. Again, as we kind of discussed, if you were in this 3-tier strategy of protecting your money, being able to achieve access on the growth of the market while also having liquidity, that's capturing 65% of the upside versus that includes 0 loss. So I'll just wait to move when things get bad. That reaction time, again, none of us can predict the market. None of us can time the market effectively. So what you're asking for is putting yourself or putting your portfolio through unnecessary trauma. The best thing you could do is get prepared, get structured. Take action today so that you can understand, at least even if you didn't make a move, you have the ability to pivot when the time is right. And the last one, I'll adjust my allocation. Again, this is that for those of, I have a lot of day traders who I speak with as well. And while being able to pivot and make adjustments where necessary, to me, it's all about skimming off the top. Meaning, if you're making X amount of dollars monthly or quarterly with what it is you're doing, you should skim that off the top, take some of those profits that you've made, securely put them in a position to where they can continue to build regardless of what happens in the market, and keep a portion out for you to be able to make those adjustments where you want. So again, this is not a one size fits all. This is it's fitting the strategy to you and your needs, fitting the strategy to the actions that you want to take. And regardless of your age, regardless of your time horizon, regardless of your risk tolerance. And the protection advantage. Again, what we're talking about here in implementing these three layers is principal protection. We're talking about the dollar amount you're contributing into this process being protected from market risk, hard stop, along with the growth potential, meaning we all want the growth potential of the market. We all want that exponential growth, but the best way to achieve exponential growth is by making sure you're not losing your principal. And time protection. There's no need to recover if you're not losing. So the whole goal is, again, the rule 1 from Warren Buffett is never lose money. And rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. So if we can protect the principle that we have, there's no reason to be concerned about recovery periods of time because there isn't any. And then accessibility. Traditional retirement accounts do not allow you to access them until you are at retirement age and are taking those retirement dollars as distributions. There are products out there that will allow you to still be able to access the liquidity. They call them free withdrawals. And in most cases, it could be anywhere from anywhere from 3, 5, I've seen 10%. I want to say there may even be some a little bit higher than that, but I'd say 10% is usually the height of what I'm seeing as far as free withdrawals. But the bottom line is you have access, and that is access to those dollars without penalty. So we're going, as we continue down this path of set it and protect it, making sure your money's in a position to be able to work for you. Next week, we're going to break down more of the What are those vehicles to be able to do so? How to turn protection into guaranteed income for life. Like, what does that actually look like? What is that vehicle I'm placing my money in to provide me with guaranteed income forever? Regardless of how much you're putting in it, it's producing guaranteed income forever. And I think, I want to say it was last week, I identified it was a $200,000 one-time contribution, but that $200,000 one-time contribution produced, once we got through the annuitization period, I want to say it was 10 years, it produced a guaranteed income of somewhere around $28,000 for life. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about next week. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, this is important.
So, and see if I can still do it. You don't have to be rich to deserve protection. You just have to be informed and have the right direction. So there's no particular time I'm more compatible with. All I need for you to do is get on my calendar and we can talk about it. Did you hear it?
What?
Did you hear it? Did I do it?
Mic drop.
Did I do it?
Are you kidding? You know what's so funny? Did you guys all catch that? Oh my gosh. Bars.
And I probably couldn't do it twice if I wanted to.
Bars. No, that was amazing, by the way. But when I was reading that earlier, I was like, you don't have to be rich. How do you not get that song in your head?
Right.
Yeah, no, well done. Well done. Snaps for you. Snap it up for Donnell. His debut. His hit single. You don't have to be rich to be protected. Get self-directed. That's right. Okay, we got snaps for you in the chat. James Lee's got some snaps. Yeah.
Oh my God. Now I'm sweating over here.
Oh, we can't see the emojis on here. Dang it. Okay. Well, is that it?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay. All right. Well, we've had quite a few people through this series who have reached out and they're like, please, can you help? We would just love to be able to have someone to talk through this stuff with. And even if you have questions about what it is that you're looking at, that's still a valid reason to take advantage of the free consultation. So that's the whole reason why they are there.
Right. Because again, it's not one size fits all. Your particular situation is your particular situation.
Right.
So the best thing that we can do is understand where you are, understand what's your goal. And I like to work backwards. If this is your goal, I want to know what are those vehicles you have in place to hit that goal. And as we start peeling layers back, if there's a lot of risk involved in your portfolio, then there's opportunity. So now let's work backwards and figure out where can we remove some of this risk and still allow you to be able to achieve the goal that you're wanting to.
And for some people, they're looking at what does this future look like realistically? For some families, it's multi-generational homes, and it's looking at, well, how do we pull together our resources so that we can make this happen? Otherwise, we are going to be struggling to all survive on our own if we don't create some sort of ecosystem inside of our own family. And in that case, we were talking about building the family bank, which we had finished up that series last month. So that's also available for you as well. And if you want access to those links to those particular videos, just put it in the comments below, and then we'll be sure to reply with those links as well. Bonita is in here. Also, if you do get on his calendar, be sure to give him those that feedback, those reviews on his debut. We love to see it. Okay, so the cool thing is, I think we've got people who are just learning here tonight, and so I don't think I missed any questions. But if I did, if you put a question in there and I did miss it, now is your chance. It's your chance to get it in. So do that now. Otherwise, I think where all this started from was the idea of set it and protect it, right? As we were talking through, well, how do you protect it? There's a huge question that most common question, biggest question that is being asked of you in the majority of your appointments that you have all through the day. is how do I not lose? And while a lot of those people who are coming in from our channel, they've been here for a while, they already understand the assignment. They know that we're heavily focused on the art of not losing. And so it's not just not losing, it's also growth without the loss. Some people have not been a part of our community for too long. And so we see these conversations being held outside of our community, of course. But when they come in, they're going, well, I'm bringing all of this traditional advice, everything that I knew. And some of these people have done everything right. And that's the saddest part. So where this conversation started, you want to just talk about that a little bit, just set it in how we transitioned from redefining the idea of set it and forget it to set it and protect it.
Well, from a set it and forget it perspective, we've all been conditioned to place our money in some place, some institution, and they have my back. Like your company's retirement account. When you filled out the forms to be able to contribute to your company's retirement account, other than the mutual fund, stocks and bonds, the target date fund that you might have picked, other than that, how much control do you have? So we've all been conditioned to set it and forget it. And then you end up leaving the company. And some of us forget that we even left a retirement account back there. And so the idea behind set it and forget it is who benefits from you not knowing what it is you have, or even the power that the power behind what you have. Who benefits? Well, who benefits are the advisors who are nickel and diming you in fees, the institutions that are taking a percentage off the dollar that you make, regardless of whether you make a dollar or not. And there's a lot of people who benefit from you not knowing or not having these answers or understanding what to do. And so the idea is, we know you're looking for security. Well, is it possible to achieve that same security while also having more control? And that's what being self-directed is. We are still invested in the market, but we dictate how much is in the market, and we securely know that there's other vehicles, other assets over here that are actually outperforming or has the ability to outperform, so that way we're not losing. So it's really just helping people understand that set it and forget it, while it sounds great, what you're really looking for is set it and protect it. Because what ends up happening is you become 52, 55, 57, and then you wake up and realize, I'm so far behind as it relates to retirement, I may have to work for the rest of my life. I would much rather you wake up 42, 45, 46, knowing you've got the right structure in place so that you get to dictate, you get to fire your job if you choose to. And let me just throw this in here as well. We talked a lot about, we spent majority of today talking about qualified money. Qualified money meaning IRAs, 401ks being moved into a vehicle where it can be protected, grown, and also have liquidity. We talked a lot about qualified money. But this also applies to non-qualified money. This accounts for the money sitting in savings, the money sitting under your bed, the money you're holding on to that you buried in the backyard to make sure that if the market did crash, you're not impacted, not realizing you're actually hurting yourself negatively there as well.
Right.
Because you're not keeping up with inflation. So you're actually losing money with you holding that money back from the system. So it's understanding, where can I place these dollars comfortably and effectively so that I can set it, it's protected, and also still grow.
Well, the other part of this is that set it and forget it has been the gold standard for contributing to traditional retirement vehicles. And the problem is that when you remember retirement age, that's really the most important part, is to remember when you can retire, when you qualify to be able to access all of these decades of contributions, right? The problem is that when you have, in the moments when you go in to go cash in and say, okay, I'm ready for my retirement party, let's talk about it. What is that looking like? That is when people find out it's not enough.
Right. That set it and forget it process that you've been taking on for the last 30 years just caused you to end up having to work another 15 because you realized 30 years later that you didn't have enough. What if you knew this when you started this process, that, you know what, I can't depend on my company's retirement account. I'm going to go get the match. I'm not saying don't participate. I'm saying now that you have this information, you have to have and conversations. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put my money here so that God forbid something happens, I have the right structure in place to be able to not allow me to lose everything.
Yeah. And that's really freedom. That's freedom. Freedom to be able to retire early, not waiting for these periods of recovery just to get back to where you left off at. And I think if we didn't have these moments, not to say that we don't experience highs in the growth, but when you average it all out and you had something that was more steady, would you be able to have gotten out a lot sooner? That's really the question. When you look at the fees, when you look just alone, right? When you look at how these are structured, do you actually see security? Because that's the whole point of opting in the first place, right? Is for financial stability and security. Retiring early is just a dream. That's a nice to have, right, a want in the want list. But being able to retire, period, that's what most Americans are facing right now. And that's why we're here to help. Okay, so I think we don't have any questions today, which is good. That means that we've got a lot. That's a signal to us that we need to do more on these topics, or might be a signal that this is a snooze fest and you guys are ready for something else. I mean, this is a pretty serious topic. You did do that parachute drawing for everybody. And you sang us, yeah, and you dropped a few bars. So we try to make it as entertaining as we can, friends. Let's just replay that over and over again, though. Can we? Okay, we have Javier says, eye-opening topic. Thank you. And we really do appreciate this feedback because we don't want to be boring everybody, but we do know that if we're not out here sounding the alarm, then we only have the performative topics because they perform, right? Well, we just have to talk about things, even if they're not the most popular topics. We got to bring it in, get in here and share it out with somebody else who needs to hear this information. So we hope this helps. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. We know that time is the most valuable asset that we have, and we're so grateful that you're here spending your time here with us. We do not take it for granted. We really do appreciate it. Every single one of you who tune in, you watch the replays, you chat, you jump in the chat and help us with building a community and showing up for each other, even just to share ideas and whatnot. It means a lot to us. It really does. We hope that you will continue to share us out with other people who need access to this information and a different perspective, I think. Yeah. Oh, we have a question. Okay. Could you talk about passing on to your family the tax-free legacy ideas?
So actually, every product that I touched on, because we didn't really dig deep into a lot of specific products today, but everyone that I lightly touched on all have a death benefit. And so when I hear legacy, or at least when I hear legacy, what I mean is what I hear is, what can I pass on? God forbid I'm no longer here. And so every one of these products offers some form of a death benefit. And in most cases, it is for the amount that's left in it at that time. And so whether we're talking a properly designed cash value life insurance policy or properly designed annuity, they all provide that. And so that's where we want to talk then structure. So just because the vehicle offers a death benefit doesn't mean my family's protected. So now it's, how do I make sure my family's protected if something has happened to me? And again, that's the 7 pillars that we've kind of talked about before as well. But that's where you want to make sure you have the right structure in place that these vehicles are feeding, so that God forbid if something happens, there is a tax-free distribution to your heirs, and there's no ability for creditors or some deterrent to be able to penetrate the shield that you put forth. So.
Do you need to clear your throat? I muted you so you could. Okay. So we have another question here, which is a really important one. One I was also thinking, can we see the parachute guy drawing again? I won't be able to sleep until I know that guy is safe. I just feel like we could just, I was thinking maybe it could be a chicken wing like a drumstick. If we have any other ideas, since
So he's the next t-shirt. I want the little parachute guy.
you want the parachute guy, yeah, I feel like we could do something with him. A little sticker.
But you get the point. If you had the ability to, let's see, there it is. If you had the ability to leave whatever that system is that is currently in a free fall, and when it picks back up, okay, then you glide right back in and ride that ride up. But the piece here, the key piece here is, as raggedy as my drawing might be, the key piece here is you having some security or some semblance of security to make sure that you're not participating in this free fall. That's the piece.
Yeah, we have another question that's come in. Why is his parachute attached to his head? It's a good question. It's just, that's why I said I think it's a chicken wing. It could be a drumstick.
Wait a minute, here's why. I didn't draw it, but there's a backpack. So there absolutely is one coming from the backpack. So it is, man, leave me alone.
Yeah. No, we see the backpack, don't we, in there, guys?
No, you do not.
It's black. Since it's black on black, you can't you can't see it. Yeah, everybody knows it's there, guys.
MG.
Okay, no, we so appreciate you. Is he trying to free his mind? That's so funny. Okay, well, go back for the replay of Donnell's debut of You Don't Have to Be Rich, because we're going to enjoy that for the rest of our lives. And we love it. We love that we have that now. We all adore you, Donnell. And your willingness to be edutainment. Sometimes we try to make this easy to go down, right? This stuff. It's just too important to not learn. Yeah. So, okay. Well, we're going to let you guys get out of here. Antonio asked, what is the new schedule? It's Tuesdays at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. That's where we are right now. And so that's when we'll be back. And we hope that you guys will come back and join us. And we have some new fun things in the chat. Did you guys see? There's like a purple crown showing up by the names. It's called experience points. Nice. For people who participate in the chat. I don't know. It's like a thing YouTube's doing. I just saw it. So let's talk about that. Okay, so next week in the series of Set It and Protect It, we are talking about how to turn protection into a paycheck.
Right, lifetime income.
Yep. And so we hope that you'll come back and join us for that, or bring somebody who might need to learn all about that. So that way, if they have questions, this is a great time to ask those questions while we're live as well. But of course, if we don't, and if you are watching the replay of this and you did not have the chance to ask your questions live, you can always book a call and you can ask your questions there. And that's really a good opportunity. Please don't sleep on that and take advantage of that, because they're free for a reason. They're free for a reason because we want people to get access to this information, access to consultations like this, to be able to talk to people without a paywall, without there being a benefit. So that is why that's the whole point of all of this. And we hope that you'll take advantage of it. So I guess that's it. Ready to go?
Let's do it.
Okay. We like to end with, if you didn't come from a wealthy family,
you can make sure a wealthy family comes from you.
So stay tuned.
Stay protected.
Stay focused.
Stay connected.
I'm Angelique.
And I'm Donnell.
And our goal is to help you
get self-directed.
And to do that, we have a ton of free resources. So don't sleep on those either. We'll be right back here Tuesday, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, 8:30. You know what? All the standard times after that, just coast to coast. Standard times, pay attention to 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. That's the most important one. That matters. We'll see you guys back here next week. We thank you so much for hanging in here with us. See you soon.
Hey, before you go, we want to remind you that becoming fully self-directed means gaining complete control over your wealth, time, and freedom. It's not just an idea. It's a framework, a mindset, and the power to make informed decisions to secure your future. Being here means you're taking those steps, and we want to thank you for allowing us to guide you. We believe that we grow farther and faster when we grow together. So tune in next time and tell a friend to tell a friend. We've helped thousands of people just like you start their journey to financial freedom. And if they can do it, You can too. And if you're ready to learn more, we got you. Get a head start by grabbing these 2 free books. But how do they get them, Donnell?
Head over to my website where you'll have access to a few things. A ton of free resources, case studies, and over 100 5-star reviews from people just like you. And in 15 minutes, we can explore what's possible for you. So don't wait.
Invest in what you want, when you want.
But first, let us help you
Get self-directed.